Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right on into your reading today, see what is going on. I felt super guided to grab these decks, so we'll see what happens with them. Let's see what messages does Pisces need to know right now. Please Spirit, what does Pisces need to know right now? Messages for Pisces highest and best good right now. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Okay, again, we have progress. And, you know, I've used these cards many times. Like, they're not in order. So, we have progress here. 68 to 69. We keep seeing this energy of progress. Progress is being made. Sometimes the progress that is made isn't the one that we're hoping for. You know, isn't maybe the ideal thing. I was listening to Brene Brown recently, and she was talking about how, you know, we associate grief with, like, you know, when someone dies, and then, you know, everyone comes to us and says, oh, we're so sorry. Oh, you know, there's a big recognition of the loss. And that helps us move through. There's a reason why we have that process. But when, you know, a relationship ends, you know, it's trying to come to a place of acceptance that maybe it happened exactly the way that it was meant to, or that what we hoped, how it would go, isn't the way it's supposed to go, or it is going. And there's a grief with that. There's a loss with that. And Brene was like, if you name the grief when you feel it, it will help you move through it. And so, and I, you know, being someone who has lost people that are still alive, you know, I can relate to this. I can understand this. And she was saying that's like one of the hardest things to do is lose someone who's still alive. Like, you know, I've lost my entire family that is still alive. Well, I mean, not all of them anymore, but at the time they were. And so there's this energy, right, of if we don't do that, then we are living in this perpetual limbo of wanting them to come back, or, you know, not really accepting where something is at, or that might have even been the highest and best. It's like, it's unbearable. We can't stand it. We don't want that to be the case. And so we hold on to it. A happy ending isn't always, and they lived happily ever after, and you got what you wanted. Sometimes 10 years down the road, you go, oh my gosh, thank God that didn't work out. You know, that self, that version of who you are, couldn't have known what this version of who you are needed. And, you know, we also have a lot of baggage that we carry along with us, and a lot of internal messaging and internal thoughts that tell us, you know, I need that person in order to be happy. You know, that's what I want. You know, I want it to work out. It could be so perfect. I've seen it. I know it. And, you know, when we feel that, and then we feel the absence of it, or we have a thought that, well, what if it's really over? Or maybe it's really over. Or what if they've really moved on? Or, you know, all the thoughts that come up, they can really put us off balance, and they can really take us out of our highest and best energy. Instead, we can say, wow, you know, I'm grieving that. That is grief. That is grief showing up. And we move through the space, and we trust. You know, I tell the story, like, I dated this guy for years in high school and into college, and I really thought he was my soulmate. I thought, well, and I'm sure he was a soulmate for me. and I thought, oh my gosh, we were meant to be. You know, we had this huge friend group together. We did everything together. We camped. We like went to museums. Like I did my photography. He did his art. We both were swimmers. We both like all these things. And I just couldn't imagine that there could ever be someone more perfect for me than him. And yet he was not good to me. You know, he cheated on me, he lied to me, he, you know, typical early relationship. I feel like it's typical, maybe it's not, but you know, and our friends were always put in these really difficult positions where it's like, do we tell her, do we not tell her? You know, it actually was very dramatic and traumatic, and we kept breaking up and getting back together and breaking up and getting back together, and you know, we had all of our friends doing the eye roll all the time, you know, and when it was good, it was really good, and when it wasn't, it was terrible, and I couldn't stand it. It was unbearable. And you know, I just thought there just can't be anyone for me but him. And I stayed that way for years. And so I stayed in this pattern of, you know, which now I understand was a result of what I thought I deserved and what I thought it was worth and what I thought love was. That's what it was reflecting, because that's who I was at the time. That's what I knew, having grown up in my house, you know, is the mistreatment of other people and calling it love and saying I'm sorry, but not changing our behavior and having no boundaries and all of it. And so it was a reflection of me at that time. I literally cannot tell you how many times in my life, in my married life to my husband, that I have thought, thank God, did I dodge a bullet. And not only thank God it wasn't him, but thank God it was my husband. Because they're literally, for all of the cycles of my life, everything that I have been through, every storm I've ever weathered, you know, which have been many, I have had him, my rock, by my side, you know, and through every iteration of my career and everything I've become and unbecome and become and unbecome, I've had complete acceptance and unconditional love. And thank God, because I'm a creative being. And without that, it's much harder. You know, it's much more difficult without someone in your corner constantly going, well, I know you can do it. Look at everything else you've done. You know, without that, I don't know where I'd be. You know, I don't know what I'd think about myself. I don't know what I would have experienced or not experienced. But I just thank God freaking every day of my life that this is what I got, you know? And here's this person that at one time I literally thought I could not breathe without. And I thought, there's no way in this world anybody could be more perfect for me than him. And there's no way in this world that I could possibly be happy in my life without him. And, you know, he did reach out to me like 10 years. I've been married about, I want to say 10 years, but I think it was actually less than that, probably like between 5 and 7. And on Facebook, and he was like, I hope you know that I like remember you fondly and that, you know, I'd really like to be friends. And it turned out randomly we lived like 45 minutes away from each other. And I was like, I am, you know, glad that you're well. He had like gotten married and had 2 kids. And I was like, I'm glad that you're well. I'm glad things are working out for you. And nice to hear from you, but I have too much respect for my husband and my marriage to like have any type of conversation with you. I wish you the best, you know, ciao. And that was that. And I never heard from him again. He unfriended me and we never heard from each other again. But the thing is, it's like, you know, holy moly, that was a happy ending. I just didn't know it at the time. And I wish I had known that what I needed to do was name my grief. And that I wish I had known that when you are grieving something, you're grieving everything in your life. You know, it's not, grief is not compartmentalized. There isn't just I'm grieving this little minutia. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, grief is hard. It's heavy. It's a burden. It's a lot to bear. And like, we don't really want to do it. We don't really, that's not, you know, where I want to spend my Saturday. you know, in bed with a box of Kleenex and the Great British Baking Show or whatever, you know, bawling my eyes out. But you know, sometimes that's what we need. You know, sometimes we just need to grieve it, and we need to let it go. We need to acknowledge. And the thing is, what we are acknowledging by acknowledging our grief and allowing ourselves to feel it is that we are lovers, that we love, and we have the capacity to love, and how beautiful that is. And it doesn't work out every single time. And sometimes, yeah, it does. It hurts. But we are capable of generating love. We are capable of loving other human beings. And that makes us awake. It makes us enlightened. It makes us capable of happiness, true, actual happiness. And it makes us capable of being a positive contribution to the collective consciousness and to every single human being around us. That's what it says. That's what it really says. It really says, I'm sorry you're grieving right now, but you're fucking amazing. You're epic. Keep going. You have this guidance from above. You know, when this Brene Brown video showed up, you know, that eclipse energy was super powerful. I was feeling it like crazy. I was getting tons of messages. It was just so intense leading into that 999 portal. And I don't know if it's because I read for Pisces or what, but it was just, woo, it was a lot. And I actually really felt myself closing out a major cycle in my own life through that energy. And I really felt like I did my best with this energy that I've ever done with any energy that the universe has provided, to like use it for my highest and best and to navigate it to get the most I was capable of getting out of it, you know. And it's, you know, it's not too late. I mean, you can keep doing it. But when this Brene Brown, I love Brene Brown, but I haven't seen one of her videos show up in my YouTube feed in a long time. And when this Brene Brown video showed up in my feed, I literally did feel like the universe put it there, like it planted it there. Because what happens when we're going into closing out a cycle and beginning a new cycle is a lot of shit comes up. It really rocks the boat. It really, you know, it comes up because you're ready to release it. You're ready to let it go. And it's got to come out of your subconscious mind into your conscious mind for you to just let it go. And, you know, this is the same. It's not just with like a past relationship. This can be, like Brene Brown said, you know, you may be folding your laundry and some random person that did you dirty, like, you know, 10 years ago, even just a one-time thing, even like a friend or a coworker or whatever, when you felt slighted and you never got closure and you never got the apology you deserved and it was left open-ended, that may come up. It's grief, you know? And once we name it, we can release it, you know, once we can acknowledge it and we can, you know, it's really becoming the observer and looking at it and saying, what are you trying to tell me? You know, getting curious about it, asking it questions like, why are you showing up this random thing I haven't thought about in 20 years while I'm folding my laundry right now? Oh, you're ready for me to let you go. You're ready for me to stop carrying you around. You're ready to stop being my baggage. You're ready to stop being the thing that keeps me stuck in the past and is a barrier for me against love. Oh, okay, I see you. Thank you. Goodbye. You know, I release you. I let you go into the loving hands of the universe. Somebody's spying on you, okay? And I don't know if this is something that is welcome. Like, I don't know if this is something that we want. But, you know, whenever I see this energy of peeping, or I see, you know, the Page of Swords, man, my ear is ringing hardcore right now. Whenever I see this kind of energy, it's a lack of bravery, right? It's like, I want to know what's going on with you, but I don't want you to know that I care or that I want to know. So I'm spying on you. And this card is giving me not well. Like, you probably know they're spying on you. At least a lot of you do. And then you have this fatal blow on the bottom of the deck. And, you know, it's funny with relationships. You know, I think about all the, like, abuse and the things that my mom said to me over the years. And you always wonder, what is it gonna take for me to walk away? What is it gonna take for me to realize that this is just really not healthy for me and this is not okay, and that I need to be brave and I need to get away from a situation? I need to, you know, accept that I may be lonely and that this may be hard and that I may be orphaned and that I may be alone in the world. I have to accept that, which is hard as hell, and it requires a tremendous amount of bravery, and I'm insanely proud of myself for doing it. And I honestly can't believe I did, but there's a fatal blow. There's always this one moment where you go, no more. Nuh-uh. I'm not doing it. And it feels to me like there is some of this energy coming up, and we're getting our bearings on navigating this situation. You know, like there may be messages or videos coming up in your feed, or things coming up in your Instagram feed, or, you know, even in tarot card readings, or, you know, wherever, whatever. I might try to post this Brene Brown video. I have to remember what device I was listening to it on. But I might try to post it for you guys if you're interested in watching it. If you want me to, put it in the comments, because that'll remind me to. I always forget when I'm channeling. So anyway, but I mean, if some of you are facing this energy, or some of you are going through something like this, I just think this would be incredibly helpful. Oh my God. You're getting pain and sadness dancing with each other with passion over here. Guys, you know, when we're carrying around these things and these thoughts are coming into our head and we're riding the wave of, you know, where am I at mentally right now about this situation? Like, am I worried this person has found someone else? Am I worried this person's cheating on me? How much of my energy exactly am I giving to this loss or the absence of this person? Or, you know, like how much is it affecting me? Is it, you know, is it taking me out of the present moment? Yes, I can tell you it is, unless that person is in the present moment. Is it, you know, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times we don't realize how much we are giving up to a situation until we free ourselves from it. And then that lightness of spirit, you know, and you got to remember too, healing is not linear. It is cyclical. And so this shit comes back around over and over and over again, right? But the more we accept ourselves and accept life exactly as it is, the more unfuckwithable we are. The more that shit comes up and we go, oh, hey, good to see you. I see you're passing through. I see it's time to release you. Okay. And we let it go. It doesn't take us down the dirty, nasty hole for, you know, 2-3 days at a time. We're not in our bed with Kleenexes in the Great British Bake Off. We are out and about. You know, we are just observing it, moving through, acknowledging it, naming it, and letting it move on, you know? And so we stay out of this spiral. We stay out of this pattern. And when we're not giving our energy to this, we have energy to give to other things, like passion. And it's hard. You know, it's hard when you're sad and you're grieving to be like, oh yeah, let me just passionately create something. Let me just visualize something else. Let me, you know, muster up the emotion to even want something else. You know, we're stuck in this hole, you know, and it's not letting us go. And that's the freaking devil card. That's exactly what that card is depicting. And it's us with us. And we gotta, sometimes we just have to say, why am I here? And what am I doing here? And what am I hoping is gonna happen? And what is the likelihood that that's gonna happen? And is it serving me to be here? And is this really where I wanna be? And is this really worth it? And you know what I mean? We gotta ask ourselves the questions. We have to acknowledge the truth about where we are and what we're doing. And it's hard. It's hard, you know, but the trade-off is we're spending a life in pain and sadness, being burdened by these past experiences and these past transgressions and the loss of this person or that one. And it's coming at the cost of living our life passionately. It's coming at the cost of, you know, passionately pursuing our desires and what we want in our life. And so we have to kind of come to that crossroads and say, what do I want? What do I want? Who am I? What am I doing here? What's the purpose? What's the point? Bringing our consciousness to a situation is like really the best we can do. Because then we're making choices, we're actively making choices about our life. You guys have somebody coming in. I'm telling you, I don't know if it is a past person. You have let go of the past right there. It's also on a 3 card, and the 3s are like the trinities. And, you know, it's always like spirit is leading you on this path for me. And so listen to your intuition. You know, tune out the voice in your head that tells you can't live without someone, that tells you whatever it's telling you. And just say, okay, I've heard you. I've been on that message for quite some time. I'm listening for a different voice, a quieter voice, my intuitive voice. What is my intuitive voice telling me? Guys, I'm just telling you, you have someone serious coming in. I can feel this energy. And, you know, it's in harmony. It's aligned with what you need. You know, I mean, even when I met my husband, I say this all the time, I won the jackpot. I really literally did. I was 20 years old when I met my husband. There's no way in hell I knew that the treasure that I had in front of me, there is no way. You know, I mean, I thought he was cute. He was taller than me. He was smart. He was really kind. He was a very, like, career-driven and hardworking. Like, he had traits that I admired. He was incredibly kind to me and very generous and just really cute and was always planning stuff and doing stuff. And, you know, I mean, I had never been treated that way. But I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. And, you know, I think about that. And I just think, my God, you know, it was definitely meant to be, you know, but I had to take the brave step to fully give up on the person before him, which was a brave step. It was incredibly difficult. I literally called my grandma and I was like, hey, I'm coming out there for the summer because I need to put distance between me and a human being. And she was like, come here right now. And so I went there and, you know, rode horses, went out on the farm, you know, hung out with my grandma, watched movies, had a few drinks, had some ice cream and some popcorn. You know, I had the time with her. And I'm incredibly grateful for that now. But it's like, I had to be brave. I even knew that if I stayed, I knew he was going to come and talk to me. I knew that I had to get 1,000 miles away. I absolutely knew that I had to. And so I did. And every single mile that I drove was insanely difficult. But I made it. I got there. And you know, honestly, I wasn't even thinking about meeting anyone else. I like really couldn't wrap my head around that. I was literally, it was about hanging out with my grandma, and I had 3 great aunts and hanging out with them. They were very cool. I loved them. And so, yeah. And, you know, and then there he was. And I sort of resisted the whole thing. I sort of was like, you know, I don't know about this. Like, I'm going back to go to school. I'm, you know, like, I'm doing all these things. I had sort of a life path in front of me, and he was like, not like anyone I knew at home, you know? And so it was just a very strange situation. But something inside me, my intuition just kept telling me, like, there's nothing wrong here. Don't you see how calm you are? Don't you see how easy this is? You know, and like, it's just moving in a direction, and it's growing, and it keeps happening. And it's not that he was like perfect. I mean, it's not like we didn't fight or that we didn't have things to work through. But it was never anything that was like traumatic or dramatic. And I think being with my grandma and my 3 great aunts like helped, you know, calm the system for me, you know, to be like, oh, okay. And, you know, they were like my main social life. But, yeah, I just, you know, sometimes it's just giving me here, you may go through a real change of pace in your life, or you may experience, it's like, it might be something that, you know, feels a little foreign at first, or feels a little unexciting, or feels a little, you know, I don't want to say boring, because it's not boring that I feel, but it's just like not how it usually feels. Okay, let's keep going. But this is also with the thoughts of marriage on the bottom of the deck. It's giving me like, there's a feeling that this is serious. Maybe even almost from the jump. And there is an attraction here with finds you sexy. And you have intimacy issues, which I kind of just want to say, who doesn't at this point, you know? Yeah. See, some of you may be letting go of a relationship that was a soulmate connection that never really reached its full potential, or that you feel never reached its true potential. It's also, you know, with the the 2 of Cups in reverse, you know, the right person finds you in pieces and takes you to a place of peace. The wrong person finds you in a place of peace and takes you to a place of pieces. And, you know, normally on the 2 of Cups, there's a giant caduceus right here that shows that this type of connection, when it's in the upright, is healthy. This is showing me this is not healthy, okay, in some way. You have this king, the Holy King, which is, the Holly King, which is the Hermit. And then you have the 3 of Swords, okay? So there is this bit of, I'm nursing a broken heart. I'm kind of being by myself, maybe even a little bit recluse here. I'm healing. I'm contemplating what I want in my life. I'm, you know, maybe I'm even starting to visualize or manifest a little bit. But my main thing is that I'm coming to a place of acceptance with a relationship that broke my heart and did not work and caused my suffering. And I'm trying to get whole again. I'm trying to get to a place where my past isn't dictating my present and my future by forcing me to carry around these past hurts. Wow. You have the Queen of Wands with the Ten of Wands, clarifying this Two of Cups. This is something that has been very burdensome. It's been very hard. It's been something that you have been carrying, and I just got you alone have been carrying. And it's like, what do I do with my desire for this person that is completely blocked off to me, will not open up to me, will not let me in? What am I supposed to do with this? And it's like, I'm kind of carrying the burden and staying in the cycle. And, you know, this cycle will not let me open up to anything new until I fully close it down, because I have no space for something new in my life with this thing in it. So it's only when I acknowledge this weight and this burden, and that I really want to be free of it, I really don't want to carry it around anymore, and I truly surrender it and release it and complete the cycle and step into this very single energy where I am truly by myself. And this isn't just I'm spending my time by myself, but I'm thinking about this person, and I'm, you know, hoping that things are working out with this person. This is like, no. I'm spending time by myself, and I am focused solely on me and myself, and that person is not part of the equation. This is when things change, and this is when I start to see things clearly, and this is when I start to heal. So, you know, I don't know who we're talking about here, you or your person. I don't know, you know, where everybody is in the timeline, what's happening here, but that 999 portal and the eclipse, this is a huge time of closing out karmic cycles, of, you know, we're ready to start something new here. You got 2 10s. You're ready to close this out, and you have the 9 and 2 10s. Yeah, this is the ending of a cycle for sure. And it is, you know, it requires us to come to peace and acceptance with it. It requires us to heal. But, you know, usually you're in a state of healing the whole time you're still continuing to give to this situation and focus on this situation. You're still healing. You're still, I don't even know how to really say this, but you're coming to terms with things. You're processing things. Your focus may still be on the other person, but there's still something happening there, okay? And so once we get to the place where we make the choice, where we're like, oh, hell no, not another day. Not another day am I giving to this situation that does not reciprocate, that does not show up for me, that does nothing. Not another day, not another minute, not another ounce of this beautiful energy of mine am I giving to this. I got better things to do with my time. You know, this is about me finding, you know, or not even finding, but, you know, being whole. Okay. It's not about resisting. It's never about resisting. If you feel yourself resisting, stop. Because resisting engages the thing with you even more. Man, look at this heavy energy. You got the 10 of Wands twice. You got the 10 of Swords, the 10 of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles. This is something that never shows up. It's a beginning you wait for and you wait for and you wait for by yourself. And it doesn't show up. And so it's this huge burden, and it becomes this huge obstacle, and it becomes this big focus in your life that you're constantly dealing with and carrying around with you day in and day out. Whether you're giving all of your energy to it consciously or not, it is heavy on your back. And it is taking up all the space that would be available for someone new to come in. And it's not showing up. That's how you know it's not showing up. Whoops. Yeah, Knight of Cups. in reverse. Four of Swords upright. Man, look at that. Jesus. This is exactly what I was just saying to you. This is like the acknowledgement that, like, I hate to say it this way, but it's kind of the acknowledgement of, like, they're not coming. It's not happening. They still haven't shown up. I've been sitting here tending to this fire, waiting for them, bringing my best energy to the thing, sitting in this painful spot, alone with my thoughts, allowing my energy, to be siphoned in this way towards them, holding space, waiting for them to wake up and to show up and to come toward me in an energy of love. With the Four of Swords, they're not coming. This is like silence. And it's also healing. It's exactly what I was just saying to you. It's not that you're not doing anything in that space. You are, to some degree, healing. With the Eight of Wands on the bottom of the deck, the Four of Swords, though, is also a meditative energy. And it is also, sometimes it gives you the space from that person to have the awakening. When I meditate, I will frequently, as soon as I kind of like stop meditating, as soon as I like wiggle my fingers and, roll my shoulders and wiggle my toes and bring myself back into the present moment, I'll get the answer to what I've been looking for, with my thinking mind all day. I'll get the answer just so easily and so clearly in that moment, in that coming to moment. And it's giving me this feeling. And that feeling is freedom for you. It is, it is like, oh, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I need to heal whatever is keeping me here. And what is healing? It really is literally coming to a place of peace and acceptance with what is and what has been, and not letting it own you, not letting it control you, not letting it be a part of your thoughts. You can control your thoughts, and you control them by observing them, by recognizing them, by naming them, by getting curious. What is this trying to teach me? What is it trying to tell me? It's lower vibrational to have this energy and then to go, oh, I can't help it. It just keeps happening to me. You can. It requires discipline and focus. I'm here to tell you that you can. And meditation will teach you that. And, if you tried meditating once and it didn't work, or you tried meditating a couple times, it's like reading. It literally is so similar to reading. And in fact, actually reading does something similar to your brain. I was just learning this the other day. I was like, no wonder I love reading. But, I think you'll remember, if you've watched my channel for a long time, like about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I think it was like a year and a half ago, I used to be a voracious reader, like my entire life. As soon as I learned how to read, I read like a wildfire. I was just known for it. My grandma and great aunts, who were all teachers, were just always like so impressed, and they would share books with me and, buy me books all the time. And we had this whole book thing going. And I loved books. I always had my nose in a book. And, at some point, probably when I had kids, I really stopped reading. And I kept, for many years, if I saw a book I was interested in, I would buy it and I'd pick it up. And most of the time I didn't finish it. Sometimes I did. But it just, I don't know, it felt like a burden. And it just didn't feel right. And so about a year and a half ago, I decided, I just made the decision. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start reading again. I started watching BookTube and getting book recommendations. And I started getting those books and I started reading them. And I was kind of slow. For Mother's Day, my husband got me one of those Kobo Libra e-reader things. It's like a Kindle, but it's different. But it's not Amazon, basically. And because I don't like Amazon. And so anyway, you got me this Kobe Libra, and it has this like stat sheet in it that tells you how many pages you're reading per minute. And I think I'm up to about like 2.5 pages a minute, which is insane. It's very fast, and I'm like getting all the information. I typically finish a book the same day I start it. And I don't read all day long. You know, I do a lot of other things besides reading. And I just am like crazy. In fact, yesterday, the 999 portal, I finished my 99th book for the year, okay? And I sat down and counted them all up last night, and I was like, holy crap, that is insane. I just finished my 99th book. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that, you know, the more you read, the faster you get, the more proficient you get, the more efficient you get. It's the same with meditation. The more you fight through the monkey mind, the more you just bring yourself, it's like yoga. You just bring yourself to the mat. That's all you got to do. You just have to show up, and you just have to keep showing up, and you have to just keep trying, and it'll work. I mean, I don't know. I know it is hard for people who have attention deficit disorders, but I mean, I think I'm pretty sure I have an undiagnosed attention deficit disorder. But I mean, I have like all the like hallmark things. But the thing is that you can do it. I really feel you can. And you know, if you can't, then read or, you know, do these other things. But what we're trying to do is become the master of our mind and not have our mind be the master of us. There are all kinds of philosophies. You can do guided meditations, like I'm always telling you, Mooji, Mooji. He's my favorite. He is my go-to guy when I cannot get out of my monkey brain, or I'm feeling really off center or really out of kilter. Man, I look up Mooji so fast. And Michael Singer is another one that can just really make it logical for you, like what is happening, and you know how you move through that space efficiently and proficiently and effectively. And so anyway, I don't want to like get stuck in this place, but I don't know. Today I woke up different. Today I woke up like, okay, we are not passengers in this car. We are the drivers. And like that's literally the energy that I have. Like we are who do we want to be? Where do we want to go? What do we want our life to look like? All right, let's do it. You know, and you guys are my go-to people for this, you know. So anyway, we have the 8 of Wands, which is like exactly that energy. It's like, let me get that answer when I'm coming to out of meditation, out of this silence, out of this, you know, sitting in the 10 of Swords for way too long, waiting for someone who never shows up. Let me heal from that. Let me ask myself, why am I doing that? Let me get those answers. Because it frees you to move forward without obstacle toward victory and success. I mean, this is a huge shift in energy right here, which is, you know, a lot of times around portals, you'll see this in readings, and I'm sure it's not just me. I haven't recently watched another tarot card reading, but I'm sure you're going to see in readings, like a very fast change in energy. Like, what just happened? Almost like whiplash. I find this around eclipses and portals. This always shows up in the tarot, and it shows up like this, where it's almost like it feels super hopeless, or it feels like, where are we going, or we're driving ourselves into a ditch here, and then it's like boom, you know, and the energy shifts, because this is really when you know, we do have, you know, I don't know, like, clearer messages coming through. You have the Queen of Wands with the Eight of Cups. This is like, what do I want and what does it require me to let go of, release, and leave behind? Period. With the Sun card, this becomes very obvious at this time. And once our conscious awareness is on this kind of energy, that's when real change takes place. This is where the whiplash happens. This is where we go from feeling like we're going in one direction completely, or that we're not in control, that we're not in the driver's seat, to holy shit, I'm in the driver's seat. I see what I got to do. And we are in this energy with the Queen of Wands. She's the manifester. You know, she's the one who knows what she wants and she doesn't chase it. She just becomes that vibration. She aligns with it and it comes to her. Happiness. We know what it is. You did have the Eight of Wands, I'm just seeing, and then you have this bird right here. You may have an offer, you may have communication. Wow, there's another bird right there. Oh, and a bird right there. There may be communication coming in that brings some kind of clarity, or there may be some kind of conversation that brings some kind of clarity here. Wow. You know, damn, guys, this can even be a message, wow, from the universe. But you have this Queen of Wands is being clarified by the Five of Swords and the Ace of Cups. And remember what I just said. This is like, what do I want? It's not that complicated. This Five of Swords is like, I want something that I can't have. I want something that's not paying attention to me. It's complicated. It's not obvious. This is our thinking mind. This is our ego. This is all of those things that are creating that environment within us. That doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to be there. We can let that go. We can look at it, we can acknowledge it, and we can go, okay, what is this trying to teach me? You know, is this really necessary? You know, and the more honest we are with ourselves, the more willing we are to look at the truth of the situation and release the confusion and our own manipulation of ourselves and our ego's manipulation of what is in our highest and best good, the more we get into this energy. When you have the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Wands, what I want is love. What I want is to love myself and to love others and to be loved. That's what I want. I want an opportunity at the real deal. Me with me and me with you. That's what I want. All of this is noise. It's bullshit. I just saw this thing. The guy that was in Maverick, oh God, what Top Gun, the second Top Gun, I think he was Goose's son in that show. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? I saw on Instagram, apparently he had been dating somebody. I don't pay attention to anything, except I was called to pay attention to this, and I have no idea why, because clearly I don't know who this guy is, and I don't know who he was dating. But, okay, well, I do know one of the people he was dating. I really don't care for Sydney Sweeney. I'm sorry, but I really don't care for her. I just, like, even the look on her face, it's just the energy she gives off. I have a bad feeling about her. And I've known people like her, and I just can see it and feel it when I know it, and I see it, and I don't like her. That's just my opinion, whatever. But anyway, he was dating someone else, and then there were rumors circulating, because apparently they were in a movie together, Sydney Sweeney and this guy, and he was dating this other girl. And there was all these rumors happening, and anyway, long story short, the first girl broke up with him and left him because, you know, he wasn't doing anything to dispel the rumors, and he kept telling her that she just needed to accept that he needed to be with her. And she was like, no, screw that. I don't need to accept that. You know, I can either sit here and let all this stuff circulate and be a part of it, or I can just take my happy ass and walk away and pull my energy out of the situation. And so she did. What a strong girl. I hope great things happen for her. And I think he ended up getting together with Sydney Sweeney, although that wasn't part of what I saw. But he said, so it was his turn to respond to the rumors. And I don't have any feelings about him one way or another. I mean, I do love Top Gun. And I thought he was good in that show. But he said that he's taken advice from Tom Cruise. And that was a red flag right there. That and Sydney Sweeney, and I was like, okay. But I still read it for some reason, okay? And he said that Tom Cruise told him that people are always going to talk, people are always going to say things, and that you either turn up the volume or you turn down the volume, and that you need to turn down the volume. And I never in a million bajillion years thought that I would be sitting here quoting, like not quoting because that's not a direct quote, but general idealizing advice from Tom Cruise and passing it on to you. But here we are. You know, that's why you don't say always and never, because it's like almost always never true. Here's the thing. It's true. We have the capacity to turn that volume down. Even us with us, even things that are not external to us. We can turn that noise down. We can there's always an eject option. You know, there always is. It may not be pretty, and it may come with some sacrifice, and it may not feel fair, and it may not be this, and you may have to eat cold porridge sitting in a tiny chair somewhere in a bear's house, but there is that option. It does exist. And, you know, your job in this life is to protect your peace. And so this Five of Swords bullshit and this sitting here waiting for someone that never shows up when they're totally on your mind and dominating your thoughts and your life and your energy and your world. And God only knows if you're a blip on the radar on theirs, or God forbid, they're just sitting there cowardly watching you from afar, energetically holding on to you. You deserve better than that, okay? And you have the Hierophant. And so it's like when I ask myself what I want and I'm aligning with it and I'm manifesting it, what I want is to love. And my only option right now may be loving myself. But I'm going to fucking commit to me like nobody's business. I'm going to commit to protecting my peace. I'm going to commit to my heart, to myself. I'm going to make promises to myself that I'm going to keep. And I'm just going to keep putting one foot in front of the other day after day. I am going to manifest the life of my dreams. When you make these choices for yourself and you are in this energy and you release this kind of bullshit energy over here, your life will change. You have to stay committed to it. You can't expect it to change. My husband and I were just, I'm sorry, I'm a storyteller today. I don't know what's gotten into me. My husband and I was telling my husband, so I watered and fertilized all my house plants the other day. And I told him every single time, and I water and fertilize my house plants kind of on a regular basis. You know, like once a month in the summer, and then like, you know, a couple times during the winter months. So a lot. For some reason, in my head, I always expect that I'm going to put the fertilizer in and water it in, and the next day, my plants are going to be humongous. I don't know why I have that expectation, but I do. And I tell him, it's so funny to me that then, like, the next day they're not huge. And then I keep thinking, well, surely like in 3 or 4 days. And there's not really that much change. You know, in the course of a month, I'm sure they have grown more robust than they would have without the food. But like, you know, and so then my husband, we have azaleas in our yard, and he went out and fertilized the azaleas, and he came in the house the other day laughing, and I said, what? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, it was so funny. I was outside walking the dog, and I thought, I can't believe the azaleas haven't changed. Like, I can't believe they haven't, like, grown infinitely. And he goes, and you know why? He goes, because I fertilized them the other day. And he was like, I just pulled a Christy. And we were laughing, like, that he also had that freaking belief in his head that they were going to be, like, you know, some crazy growth happening. Even though he laughs at me for thinking that every single time I fertilize them. But it's kind of like that. You know, when we manifest, or when we, you know, make these big choices and these big decisions, and we go, I'm doing this. The moment we don't see change, we start to feel like, oh, I was a fool. I got my hopes up. That's not going to happen. That's really not really the way that it is. That never really goes that way for me. You know, what I'm seeing is more of the same. And so it's going to be more of the same. I felt good for a second when I believed it and I was manifesting it and I was trusting it. But, you know, it's just not going to show up. Well, guess what? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. So the minute you do that, you're right. It's not going to show up. You have to stay committed. And anyway, you know, once you start making promises to yourself and keeping them, and once you start, you know, loving yourself and showing up for yourself in this way, you don't even need a return on it. It actually starts to feel so much better and so good. Not to say that you don't have hard moments or bad moments or whatever, but you know, things do automatically shift and change. You know, you have this 8 of Cups with the Page of Pentacles and Judgment. Damn, Pisces, this energy is off the chain. You know, we're learning a lesson about walking away. We're learning a lesson about gracefully letting go of the things that are no longer serving us. The things that actually aren't making us emotionally content by ourselves or with another person. It's acknowledging it, looking at it, saying, okay, I accept it, and showing up for ourselves. And with Judgment, we rise above every situation. We're born again into a new cycle, into a new place, into new opportunity, into new possibility, into new everything. And you know, I don't want to full circle this back in this way, but I am getting this message, so I have to let go of my thinking mind and just deliver the message. But sometimes when you do let something go, it does cycle back to you. Like, as in the past person, as in exactly what you want to happen now has the space to happen. Because what happens is when we're clinging or forcing, you know, that's an energetic cord and we're squeezing the lifeblood out of it. There's no way for the energy to pass through because we're holding on to that thing. And sometimes we don't realize we're holding on to it like that. If you ask us, well, we're going to say, no, we're not doing that. But we are, because we're not letting it go. We're not accepting it the way that it is. When we accept something the way that it is, energy flows freely. All right, so let's just get some message cards, you guys. Here's the bottom line. You're going to be happy. You got the sun. You guys keep getting the sun, too. I saw something on Instagram, which is, you know, always authoritatively true. I'm joking. But I did see this thing where 3 zodiac signs can expect the best second half or, you know, the best end of 2025. And one of them was Pisces. The other ones were Scorpio and Sagittarius, if that matters to you. But I was rooting for you. I was cheering for you. It's so funny. You know, I'm as happy when I see Pisces as I am when I see Libra. All right. If you guys are dealing with a water sign, you're getting the changes are real. You will always be my secret love. Repressing, controlling. I want to be vulnerable with you. And resentment. If you're dealing with a fire sign, you are hard to forget, secret, indecisive. You give me so much to look forward to, and wishy-washy. If you're dealing with an earth sign, I am sending you telepathic messages. I can't walk away. Twin flames. I just want to go back in time. I don't want to let you down. If you are dealing with an air sign, You know, sometimes people want to show up for us, but they just can't. And it's just accepting another human being's humanness and letting go without resentment and letting go, wishing them peace and moving forward for yourself. With an air sign, you have, I've been having weird dreams about us. I need more time. You were so unexpected. I regret how I handled things before, and you hit me out of nowhere. Guys, I don't know. This message, you know, I don't know. My ear is ringing again and louder this time than it was last time. So my right ear, if that matters to you. So anyway, this is what I have for you guys. I really seriously appreciate you and appreciate going through this journey with you. And I honestly wish you guys all the very, very best. I truly hope for your happiness. I hope for you all to find love, to be seen, to be heard, and to be cherished for the beautiful soul that you are. You are a beautiful soul. I know that without meeting every single one of you. You are a beautiful soul. I wish you guys all the best. Until next time, I send you off. Bye-bye.